Okay, real talk. Have you ever bent over backwards to impress a guy only to watch him slowly lose interest? You were texting first, overthinking every outfit, putting in all the effort, and still ended up confused and ghosted. If that sounds even remotely familiar, this video is for you. What if I told you that the women men find most irresistible are not the ones constantly trying to prove their worth, but the ones who seem like they're not trying at all? And no, I'm not talking about game playing or pretending to be distant. I'm talking about something way deeper, an energy, a mindset, a way of showing up that speaks louder than words. Today we're diving into the real psychology behind why men are magnetically drawn to women who don't try hard. We'll break down how effortless confidence can be more attractive than physical perfection, why the cool girl effect is real, but misunderstood, and how you can start shifting into this energy without compromising who you are. By the end of this video, you'll understand why trying less can actually bring you more attention, more respect, and more of the right kind of connection. It's not about doing nothing, it's about doing the right things and letting go of the ones that sabotage you. So grab your tea, get comfortable, and stay with me, because the truth about attraction is about to change the way you think forever. You've probably heard the phrase effortless energy before, but let's be real, it's often misunderstood. People think it means being passive, doing nothing, or just waiting around for things to happen. But effortless energy isn't about being lazy or checked out. It's about embodying a vibe that feels secure, grounded, and self-assured without needing to try to impress anyone. Let's break that down. Effortless energy is what happens when a woman walks into a room and doesn't need to announce her presence, but somehow everyone feels it. It's not loud, not attention-seeking, and definitely not desperate. It's the quiet confidence that says, I'm good with or without your approval. And that hits differently, especially for men. Here's the psychology behind it. When someone isn't trying to prove their value, it sends a powerful subconscious message that they already know their worth. That energy is magnetic. It creates curiosity. It invites someone in, rather than pushing or pulling. And in dating, that curiosity is gold. It's what makes people want to get closer to you, because you're not chasing, you're attracting. Now contrast that with the kind of energy that tries too hard. Over-texting, constantly seeking reassurance, performing a version of yourself just to be liked. That energy repels, even when your intentions are pure. Why? Because it signals lack, not abundance. It tells the other person, I don't feel enough, so I need your reaction to validate me. And that becomes emotionally exhausting for both people. Effortless energy doesn't mean you never show interest or vulnerability. It means your interest comes from a place of wholeness, not fear. You're not auditioning for love, you're inviting it. You're not bending yourself into someone's expectations. You're letting them meet you where you already are. Think about someone you've been drawn to, not just attracted to, but really curious about. Chances are they weren't overly eager or trying to sell themselves to you. They were just being calm, present, comfortable in their skin. That's the kind of presence that sticks with people long after the conversation ends. Men, in particular, are highly tuned into energy, often more than words. They can sense when something feels forced. And here's the twist, when you stop trying to be chosen and start focusing on simply being, you automatically raise your value in their eyes. Not because you're pretending to be hard to get, but because your vibe communicates that your world is already full. You're just open to sharing it, not chasing someone to complete it. Effortless energy is the opposite of performance. It's rooted in emotional self-respect. It's saying, I don't need to overdo anything. I already bring value just by showing up as me. That's power, that's attractive. And when you learn how to tap into it, dating becomes less stressful and more aligned. Because suddenly you're not playing the game, you're changing the game. Let's talk about a trap. So many women fall into trying too hard. And the truth is, it doesn't come from a bad place. It usually starts with good intentions, wanting to be liked, to connect, to make something work. But over time, it turns into overthinking, overcompensating, and slowly, unknowingly pushing the very thing you want away. Trying too hard often looks like always being available, always being agreeable, initiating every conversation, chasing after someone's attention, and constantly worrying if you're doing enough. But here's the hard truth. When you put someone else on a pedestal and make them the prize, it shifts the dynamic completely. You're no longer showing up as an equal. You're auditioning, you're seeking validation. And whether people realize it consciously or not, that energy is felt. The human brain is wired to value what it has to work for. When something is handed over too quickly or made too available, it often gets taken for granted, not out of cruelty, but because there's no emotional investment required. It feels one-sided. And men especially are wired to want to feel like they're earning a woman's time and attention, not being smothered by it. When someone senses that you're trying too hard, what they actually hear beneath the surface is, "I don't fully believe I'm enough, so I need to prove it to you." That energy breeds imbalance. It creates pressure. It makes the other person feel like they're being forced to reciprocate something they may not be ready for yet. Think about it. When you've had someone show too much interest, way too fast, didn't it make you feel a bit uncomfortable? Maybe even suspicious. Like, why are they so into me already? They don't even know me. It's the same thing in reverse. Too much effort too soon can create doubt rather than desire. Trying too hard also distracts you from observing red flags. When you're busy performing or people-pleasing, you're not paying attention to whether the connection is mutual or healthy. You're focused on being chosen, not choosing. And that's a dangerous place to be, because it leads to settling, self-abandonment, and chasing relationships that aren't even right for you in the first place. Now, this doesn't mean you shouldn't show effort or interest at all. It means the effort has to come from a place of inner security, not desperation. You should want to connect, not need to prove your value. There's a big difference, and the more you trust that being yourself is enough, the more you'll notice that people naturally lean in instead of pulling away. Ironically, when you stop trying too hard, everything gets easier. You show up with boundaries, you protect your peace, you allow things to unfold naturally instead of forcing them. And that's when real attraction can happen, because it's based on authenticity, not effort. So if you've been burning yourself out trying to make someone stay, take this as your sign. Stop chasing, start choosing. You're already enough as you are, and the right person will feel that without needing to be convinced. Let's pull back the curtain and get into the real science behind attraction. Because no, it's not just about looks or charm. Attraction is way more psychological and instinctive than most people realize. And once you understand what's really going on beneath the surface, you'll never look at dating or yourself the same way again. Attraction isn't something you create through effort, it's something you trigger. And here's the key, those triggers have very little to do with how perfect you look or how much you try. In fact, the part of the brain responsible for desire and chemistry, the limbic brain, is driven by instinct, emotion, and energy, not logic. That means attraction is largely unconscious. People feel it or they don't. And it's often sparked by signals you send without even realizing it. For example, confidence, genuine, grounded, unshakable confidence, activates a powerful psychological cue in others. It signals safety, leadership, and value. Your posture, eye contact, the tone of your voice, how you pause instead of rushing to fill silence. All of that speaks louder than anything you actually say. Another huge factor, emotional availability. People are drawn to those who are self-aware and emotionally regulated, not overly reactive or needy. And yes, your energy reveals that before you even open your mouth. When you try too hard, it triggers the scarcity signal. But when you're secure, calm, and in your own lane, it triggers abundance. That's what people want to be around, even if they don't fully understand why. Here's the part that really flips the script. Studies show that mystery and unpredictability can actually increase attraction. When you're a little harder to read, not in a manipulative way, but in an authentic, grounded way, it activates curiosity. And curiosity is the gateway to chemistry. So if you've ever wondered why someone was drawn to you when you weren't even trying, or why they pulled away when you were giving your all, this is why. Attraction isn't earned by doing more. It's sparked by being more of who you truly are. And speaking of that, what exactly do confident women do differently that sets them apart without even trying? That's what we're getting into next. And trust me, it's going to change how you show up in every room you walk into. Don't go anywhere. This next part is where everything starts to click. Let's talk about what truly sets confident women apart. Not the loud performative confidence, but that quiet, deeply rooted kind that turns heads without even trying. The kind that makes people wonder, who is she, before you've said a word. The truth is, confident women operate on an entirely different frequency. And once you understand how they move, you'll realize it's not about doing more, it's about being more intentional. First, confident women are selective with their energy. They don't chase attention. They attract it by being centered in their own world. They know their time is valuable, so they don't overextend themselves just to be liked. If someone wants to get close, that person has to earn it. Not because she's playing hard to get, but because she values her peace more than random validation. They also don't fear silence or space. When a confident woman doesn't hear from someone, she doesn't immediately panic or fill the gap with anxiety. She leans back, she observes, she gives things room to breathe, because she knows her worth isn't tied to someone else's response time. That kind of emotional discipline is powerful and incredibly rare. Another key difference: confident women don't over-explain or apologize for their boundaries. They say no without guilt. They express their needs without softening their truth to avoid discomfort. And this doesn't make them too much, it makes them respected. People intuitively know where they stand with her, and that clarity builds trust. She also doesn't perform to be chosen. She doesn't try to morph into the ideal version of what someone might want. She shows up as herself, unfiltered, but self-aware. Whether she's dressed to the nines or in sweatpants, her energy says, "I belong here." She doesn't wait for permission to take up space. She just does. And perhaps most importantly, confident women don't confuse vulnerability with weakness. They're not afraid to be seen. They're not emotionally guarded out of fear. They're open but discerning. This balance of softness and strength is what makes them unforgettable. You feel safe around them, not because they're perfect, but because they're real. This is the kind of woman that people remember, not because she was the loudest or flashiest, but because she left an emotional imprint. She made others feel something: curiosity, respect, admiration, and all of that came from how she carried herself, not what she said or did. If you've ever looked at a woman and thought, she just has that something, this is it. And the best part, that kind of energy is not exclusive. It's not for the chosen few. It's cultivated. It's a mindset, a practice, a decision to show up differently, even when the world tells you to try harder. So now the question becomes, what subtle things can you start doing today to carry yourself with that same energy without forcing it? Because that's exactly where we're headed next. And trust me, the little things, they make a huge difference. You'll see. Let me bring this to life with a few real-world examples, because theory is great, but when you see this kind of energy in action, it clicks in a whole new way. Let's start with Jessica. She's not the loudest in the room, she's not constantly posting online, and she's not what most people would call traditionally attention-grabbing. But everywhere she goes, people notice her. Not because she's trying to stand out, but because she's completely comfortable in her own skin. She doesn't chase conversations or feel the need to overshare. Instead, she listens more than she speaks. She holds eye contact. She laughs easily, but never forces it. And that calm, collected presence, it draws people in like a magnet. She told me once that she used to do the opposite. She used to be the girl who texted first every time, ask guys if something was wrong when they didn't respond fast enough, and constantly worried if she said the right thing. And every time she'd either get ghosted or be told she was too intense. The shift happened when she stopped trying to manage other people's perceptions and just started trusting her vibe. Suddenly, people started chasing her. Same woman, different energy. Then there's Maya, who went through a tough breakup that left her feeling like she wasn't enough. She worked on herself, not in a fake glow up for revenge kind of way, but genuinely. She went to therapy, reconnected with her passions, and got back to knowing who she was outside of a relationship. And when she started dating again, she didn't fall into old habits. If someone took too long to text back, she didn't spiral. If a date didn't go well, she moved on without overanalyzing it. That emotional self-respect, it attracted someone who matched her energy: calm, confident, secure. They're now building a healthy relationship, not based on chasing or proving, but on mutual interest and grounded connection. One more, Sarah. She was always the nice girl, always accommodating, always bending to make things work. But after years of dating emotionally unavailable men, she finally stopped trying to be likable and started being real. She let go of the fear of being too much. She stopped over-explaining herself. And ironically, Once she let go of that need to be chosen, men started showing up differently. They respected her more. They stayed. Not because she was doing more, but because she was doing less from a place of more confidence. These stories aren't rare. They're what happens when women stop performing and start aligning. When they stop chasing and start choosing. The difference is felt, not forced. And if it worked for them, it can work for you. So now that we've seen what this energy looks like in real life, let's dig into the subtle behaviors, the ones you might not even realize are sending the wrong signals, and how to shift them starting today. Let's get into the really interesting part. The subtle behaviors that make men lean in, sometimes without even understanding why. These aren't big flashy moves. They're small, often unconscious actions that send powerful signals. And the best part, you don't have to perform them. When you're grounded and in your feminine energy, these things tend to happen naturally. The first is presence. You'd be surprised how rare it is to find someone who's fully there in a conversation. Most people are distracted, checking their phone, thinking about what to say next, or trying to impress. But a woman who's simply present, who listens with intention, holds soft eye contact, and doesn't rush the moment, creates an almost magnetic atmosphere. That calm presence makes a man feel seen, and when someone feels seen, they want to stay close to that energy. Then there's how you respond, not react. Confident women don't get thrown off easily. If a man says something unexpected, or flirts a little boldly, she doesn't giggle nervously, or jump to prove herself. She might smile knowingly, pause, or even playfully challenge him. That kind of emotional control sends the message, I'm not easily shaken, I can hold my own. And that's incredibly attractive. Your body language also says more than your words ever could. A relaxed posture, uncrossed arms, and slow, intentional movements all signal confidence and comfort with yourself. Tilting your head slightly when listening, maintaining warm eye contact, and even small subtle touches, like brushing something off your shoulder, can ignite interest without you saying a word. These aren't flirtation tactics. They're expressions of openness and self-assuredness. Another behavior, not filling every silence. Silence makes some people panic, but confident women aren't afraid of it. When you pause before responding, or allow a beat to pass without scrambling to fill the air, it builds tension in a good way. That space creates curiosity. It gives weight to your words. It signals you're not rushing to win anyone over. And that calm detachment draws people in. Then there's how you talk about yourself. You don't need to brag or overshare. Confident women speak with warmth and clarity. They own their opinions. They might say something as simple as that's not really my vibe, or I love that kind of thing, without apologizing or waiting for approval. It's not what they say. It's the ease and conviction in their voice that stands out. And finally, one of the most subtle yet powerful behaviors, being genuinely okay with letting someone go. When a woman is unattached to an outcome, when her self-worth isn't tied to whether this person likes her or not, it shifts the entire dynamic. That emotional independence isn't cold, it's freeing, and it makes a man feel like he's choosing her, not being chosen by default. Now you might be wondering, how do you master that balance between chill and cold? How do you stay detached without pushing people away? That's exactly what we're diving into next. Don't skip it. It's the part that most people get totally wrong. Finding the balance between being chill and being cold is one of the trickiest things to master, because from the outside, they can look really similar, but the energy behind them, completely different. And men can feel that difference almost instantly. Being chill isn't about being aloof or pretending not to care. It's not shutting down emotionally or acting like you're too busy to text back. That's not chill. That's disconnection. And when someone senses that kind of wall, it doesn't make them chase you. It makes them retreat. Cold energy says, I don't need you, and I'm not open to you. But chill energy, it says, I'm good either way, but I'm open to connection if it's right. Big difference. A chill woman is calm, self-possessed, and emotionally unbothered by things outside of her control. She's not reactive. She doesn't spin out if someone takes a little longer to reply or isn't overly expressive in the early stages. She doesn't rush into trying to define things or need constant reassurance. And again, it's not because she doesn't care. It's because she's not desperate for an outcome. She's grounded in the belief that the right connection won't need to be forced. Being chill also means you don't make someone earn your coldness as a punishment. You're still kind. You're still warm. You're just not bending over backward to be liked. You're observing, staying in your own energy, and letting things unfold. You're not shutting people out. You're just not chasing them down either. You can still flirt, laugh, be playful, and show interest, but it's done in a way that feels effortless, not pressured. Chill energy invites someone in without clinging to them. It feels safe, light, and magnetic. Cold energy, on the other hand, feels guarded, unavailable, and heavy. That's why some women who try to play it cool end up pushing people away. They're mimicking distance, not embodying self-trust. One way to check yourself is this. Are you pulling back because you're genuinely unbothered? Or are you pulling back to get a reaction? Because if you're withdrawing to manipulate or test someone, that's cold energy, even if it looks chill on the surface. But if you're simply allowing space because you're not attached to forcing anything, that's the good kind of chill. The kind that makes people curious. The kind that makes them step up and lean in. Ultimately, being chill without being cold comes down to emotional maturity. It's about self-respect and openness, strength and softness. When you've got that balance right, you don't need to pretend. You don't need to play games. You can just be fully and let the right energy find you. So now the big question is, how do you take everything you've heard and actually apply it? What does it look like to move through the world with this energy in your daily life? Let's bring it all together in this final part. You don't want to miss it. So let's bring this full circle. We've covered a lot in this video, from understanding why trying too hard backfires, to the psychology of effortless attraction, to the subtle behaviors and mindset shifts that completely change how others experience you. But none of this really matters unless you know how to apply it. Confidence, magnetism, and ease aren't just concepts. They're choices you start making every single day. So what does that look like in real life? It starts with getting quiet and asking yourself, where am I overextending? Where am I trying to be chosen instead of choosing? Start by noticing your own patterns. Do you constantly initiate? Do you feel anxious when you don't hear back from someone quickly? Do you change your tone or personality depending on who you're with? Awareness is the first step. Then begin to pull your energy back, not in a passive-aggressive way, but in a self-honoring way. When you're tempted to send a double text, pause. When you're about to say yes to something that doesn't feel good, say, let me get back to you instead. Every time you choose alignment over approval, you build real self-trust, and that's the foundation of effortless attraction. Also, practice being more present. The next time you're on a date or even just in a conversation, slow down, breathe, listen. Don't rush to fill the silence or control the outcome. You'll be amazed how much more powerful your presence becomes when you're not trying to impress anyone. Another small but powerful shift. Stop performing your value. Own it. You don't need to overshare to prove you're deep. You don't need to say, I'm not like other girls, to stand out. Just be your full self, unapologetically, and let people come to their own conclusions. The right ones will see it without you needing to explain. And finally, protect your peace. If someone's energy feels chaotic, confusing, or leaves you feeling anxious more often than calm, that's your cue to step back. Confident women don't cling to people who can't meet them. They walk away not because they don't care, but because they've learned that nothing healthy comes from trying to convince someone of their worth. This whole journey is about coming back to yourself, about knowing that you don't need to try hard to be worthy. You just need to stop trying so hard to earn what you already are, valuable. So here's your challenge for the next week. Focus on being, not proving. Show up fully, speak honestly, and choose peace over performance. Watch how everything, your energy, your connections, and your confidence starts to shift. And if this video sparked something in you, make sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Tell me, what was your biggest aha moment? I'd love to hear how you're stepping into this next version of you, because trust me, it's already yours. You just have to claim it. Now it's your turn. You've learned a lot today about why men are deeply attracted to women who don't try too hard, and how that effortless energy comes from confidence, presence, and self-respect. But all the insights in the world won't make a difference unless you start applying them. So let's get practical. Start by taking a moment to reflect on your current patterns. Are you often the one initiating every text or call? Do you find yourself over-explaining or apologizing to keep someone's attention? If so, that's exactly where you want to begin shifting. Remember, attraction flows best when it feels natural and mutual, not forced or one-sided. Try this simple exercise the next time you want to reach out first or fill a silence, pause and breathe instead. Give yourself permission to wait and see how the other person responds. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but that discomfort is a signal you're breaking old habits and stepping into something new. And that's growth. Also, start practicing presence in your everyday interactions. Whether it's on a date, chatting with friends, or even a casual conversation, focus on truly being there. Listen deeply. Slow down your pace. Notice how this changes the energy and dynamics around you. When you show up fully and without trying too hard, people naturally gravitate toward that vibe. Another powerful shift is to honor your boundaries more clearly. Saying no or I need space isn't rejection, it's self-care. When you protect your peace, you radiate confidence, and that's magnetic. So start saying what you mean with kindness and clarity. You don't have to over-explain or justify yourself. Finally, remind yourself daily you are already enough. You don't have to prove your worth to anyone. Confidence isn't about perfection. It's about owning your value and letting that truth shine through in everything you do. This journey isn't about changing who you are. It's about uncovering the best version of yourself and letting that light guide your connections. So take these insights, try out the tips, and watch how your energy transforms. Your vibe truly attracts your tribe. So start today. Step into your power and let the right people come to you effortlessly.